Hello everyone. So again, this is the continuation of our C++ programming language. And now, our topic is all about the loop types and decision making. So firstly, we'll talk about the loop types. So now, there may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several numbers of times. In general, statements are executed sequentially. The first statement in a function is executed first, followed by the second, and so on. Programming languages provide various control structures that allow for more complicated execution paths. A loop statement allows us to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times, and following is the general form of loop statement in most of the programming languages. So here, the example of loop types. This is the flowchart example of the loop condition. So, a loop is used for executing a block of statements repeatedly until a particular condition is satisfied. For example, when you're displaying number from 1 to 10, you may once set the value of variable to 1 and display it 10 times, increasing its value by 1 on each loop iteration. So by the way, in computer science, a loop is a programming structure that repeats a sequence of instructions until a specific condition is met. Programmers use loops to cycle through values and sums of numbers, repeat functions, and many other things. So right here, loop type and description. So in a looping, we have four types of loop. We have while loop, for loop, do while loop, nested loops. So while loop repeats a statements or group of statements while given a condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. And the for loop executes a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages the loop variable. Do while loop, like a while statement, except that it tests the condition at the end of the loop body. And the last one we have nested loops. You can use one or more loop inside any other while, for, or do while loop. Loop control statement. Loop control statements change execution from its normal sequence. When execution leaves a scope, all automatic objects that were created in the scope are destroyed. A C++ control statement redirects the flow of program in order to execute additional code. These statements come in the form of conditionals, if else, switch, and loops, for while, do while. So each of them relies on a logical condition that evaluates to a Boolean value in order to run one piece of code over another. So, control, state, and description. C++ supports the following control statement. So first, terminates the loop or switch statement and transfers execution to a statement immediately following the loop or switch. And second, continue statement causes the loop to skip the remainder of its body and immediately retest its condition prior to reiterating. Lastly, go to transfers control to the label statement, though it is not advised to use go-to statement in your program. So it's up to us if we use this. The infinite loop. A loop becomes infinite loop if a condition never becomes false. The for loop is traditionally used for the purpose, since none of the three expressions that form the for loop are required. You can make an endless loop by leaving the conditional expression empty. So right here, the example of infinite loop, and followed by the output. When the conditional expression is absent, it is assumed to be true. You may have an initialization and increment expression, but C++ programmers more commonly use the for and two semicolons to construct to signify an infinite loop. And guys, if you encountered an infinite loop, so you can use this note by pressing Ctrl+C to break the infinite loop. C++ decision-making statements. Decision-making structures require that the programmer specify one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program, along with a statement or statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be true, and optionally, other statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be false. Following is the general form of typical decision-making structure found in most of the programming languages. So here are the flowchart of the decision-making statement. Decision-making structures require that the programmer specifies one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program, along with a statement or statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be true, and optionally, other statements to be executed if the condition is determined to be false. So this one is the example. Statement and description. If statement. An if statement consists of Boolean expressions followed by one or more statements. And second, if-else statement. An if statement can be followed by an optional else statement, which executes when the Boolean expression is false. The third, switch statement. A switch statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. The fourth one, nested if statements. You can use one if or else if statement inside another if or else if statements. Nested switch statement. You can use one switch statement inside another switch statements. So a statement is a syntactic unit of an imperative programming language that expresses some action to be carried out. So now we're gonna create an example program of if statement, if-else statement, and else if statement. So firstly, we're gonna create headers, which is iStream, and then followed by the method of if statement. So now we are done by typing the example code of if statement. So now we're gonna execute this, save, then here, the output. And the second example, which is the if-else statement. As you can see guys, I put the CN object right there. CN is an object of the input stream and is used to take input from input streams like files, console, or etc. Cout is an object of the output stream that is used to show output. Basically, CN is an input statement while Cout is an output statement. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to see my colon. So I input 12, 5, 2, and then A is the greatest because our A is 12. So I execute this again, which is I put 1, 3, 5, and then the greatest is C, which is our 5. In this third example, we're gonna create else if statement. And guys, this is the end of our topic. I hope you learned something. And thanks for watching. Keep safe, God bless, and see you on the next video.